Yo,
What's going on with you, man?
man, it's been a minute, man.
I know, right? How you been, man?
Good, man. Good to see you, Doc.
You too, man. It's
Man,
crazy.
how you been holding up?
Man, I've been just testing myself. Like I'm on my second day of this Arden's Garden that detox, man. So
Oh, I done heard some stories about that.
man, just nothing but just grapefruit concoction for 2 days. My second day, so I haven't eaten anything in a day and a half. So it's been crazy, but I've been good, man. I can't complain.
That's what's up, man. I know I got a lot of questions, so I want to go ahead and get into it. I always thought it was so dope that you were from Minneapolis because you know
Prince.
what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to go ahead and dive into that honestly because
Okay.
I know being from Cincinnati, man, I tripped over my little light or whatever. So if it goes out, don't mind me. I'll be in the dark for a quick second, but it's all good. Growing up in Cincinnati, you always used to hear about people who were from the area or whatever, especially if you were trying to do music. You know what I'm saying? So I was curious, being from an area with so like Minneapolis, like Prince, Jam and Lewis, like there was years like straight that you could not listen to the radio without hearing the influence of your city. So I was curious, growing up, was that like a thing that helped encourage you? Did you know the history growing up?
Yeah, of course. My mother used to sing with Little Richard, and my
Oh,
cousin is Philip Bailey from Earth, Wind, and Fire. So my mother went to school with Prince, and I deal with the people saying they know me, but they really don't know me. They passed me in the hall at school. But my mom literally, my uncle and my mom went to school with Prince, where he'd be at my grandmother's house and stuff like that. So there was a chance encounter I had with him, and I always tell this story. It's funny. Outside of a club, it was called South Beach, Minneapolis, and I'm not really into clubs. I don't like clubs, but I'm gonna keep it 100. I've never said it like this, but I'm gonna be honest. I would literally pull my G wagon in the front of the club. They'd have cones for me to just sit, and I would sit on the hood of my car just to watch people because I wanted them to see me because I wanted to look at all the people that told me I wasn't gonna be nothing. Keeping it 100, like I don't even really like the club. I'm just what it was. So one day I'm out there chilling, watching people, and Prince pulls up. So I walk over to his car. I'm not gonna lie, I'm stuttering. And I'm like, and I'm trying to explain who I am. And he goes, I know exactly who you are. You're Tony's son. I swear to goodness. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I would love to work with you. He's like, as long as it's without them. And I'm like, who? And I'm thinking about to say my group members or something. I'm about to throw them under the bus. Like, okay, what's up? Like, I'm just playing. But I'm like, who? He says the labels and rolls his window up and bounces on me, right? So I'm like, maybe dude don't rock with me. Well, literally a couple days later, I get invited with the guys out to Paisley Park. So we were invited to a bunch of jam sessions, hanging out. It was super cool. Um, it's always 6 degrees of separation because the way we were even discovered, you know, which is funny because we auditioned for Jam and Lewis and they decided not to sign us because low key really discovered us. KG gets a lot of credit, deservedly so, but it was Lance and Prof T that would sneak us out to flight time to record while I was in high school. So, which is funny because they're from Kansas City and they are a great band. Low key was amazing. So we would sneak out, um, sang for Jam and Lewis, and they was like, we're gonna sign this other group instead, right? So it was always a thing about, well, dang, like, was we not good enough? So I always had a certain chip on my shoulder when it came to stuff like that.
I knew
But
that shit was gonna happen. Keep going.
but when it see that's just a vibe. He did that on purpose, yo. Cam did that on purpose. It's a vibe. You know what I'm saying? These Morehouse cats, man. He got special effects and everything, man. You know what I'm saying? These rock stars. You know what I'm saying?
Ah,
but but
hilarious.
we were able to go, out and hang with him quite a bit. But the 6 degrees of separation comes in where literally we had a show on a Friday night opening up for Aaliyah at Glam Slam, and I know you know Glam Slam. So we were opening up for Aaliyah at Glam Slam. Well, earlier that day, my guys are at the Mall of America. I'm at soundcheck because they're always late. Well, they run into KG from Naughty by Nature. So he sees them, they're dressed alike. He's like, y'all must be a group. He gives us tickets to the concert at First Avenue. They were performing at
Wow.
First Avenue. So we're like, oh, perfect. So they sneak him a demo. We weren't supposed to give our demo out because it wasn't our music per se, but they snuck him the demo anyway, and he, kept it. He probably gets a bunch of them. Well, the next day they had a concert, so we had a concert Friday. They had a concert Saturday, so we go to the concert. They perform, we bounce. Well, on the tour bus, Brother Jules, who was the DJ for New Power Generation, I know him. I grew up under him. He's on the tour bus, and Kay goes, "Who's the hottest groups out here? I'm looking for new acts for my label. I'm relaunching my label." He sees the tape sitting on a table on the tour bus, and he goes, "There's only one group you need to worry about. It's them." He picks up the tape, puts it in his pocket. Rest is history. So Prince, in a sense, indirectly had a huge effect on us even getting put on.
Wow. So listen, now I gotta ask you, first of all, going into Flight Time, being in high school, going into Flight Time, that's like playing with the NBA ball players when you were in high school, bro.
Yeah, but you know what's funny is you don't realize it, because it almost broke me when it's almost like you get the courage to holler at a girl and she just denies you. That's how it felt. So you have to think, I revisited Flight Time doing The Best Man with Tyrese Genuine and Case. So all that extra stuff I did on that song, it wasn't in the script. I was going extra hard, doing too much, because I wanted them to see, like, look at me now. Y'all should have signed us. But everything happens for a reason. But the funniest story I have about Paisley, besides him, about Flight Time with them sneaking us out, is Janet Jackson had the Velvet Rope listing party at Flight Time, right? So I go, I'm not thinking she know who I am. So everybody's taking pictures, and they're kind of playing me because it's execs and stuff like that. So I'm about to walk away, and Janet grabs me. Man, I wish I could find this picture, bro. Listen, I would give her a finger if I could find this picture. She grabbed me, and she says, "No, I want to take a picture with him. I love your music." I was literally like, "Oh, what?" You know what I'm saying? Like, because what people don't realize is, as an artist, it's hard to live in the moment because you're always thinking of what's next. New inspiration. What can I do? You already know.
Yeah.
You're the quintessential artist, so you totally understand. So when people ask me about the past and moments, I really, early on, I don't have a lot of enjoyable moments at all, because I was so busy flying to this studio, going here, and no one knew that I was the writer and arranger of the group, and I'm the baby. So, you have to manage egos, you have to deal with labels, man, all these different things that I was not equipped for. And I make so many mistakes, and I look back now, and the truth is, if there's anything I have about the past, besides some pride, is regret. Because there's so many things I look back and I say I could have done different. It's just like music. You already know you're in the studio, and once it's done and it's mastered and it's out, you listen back and you go, I could have did this lick better, or I could have did that wrong. All right, you know what? I should have did this. It's things like that.
Man, that's truth though. Golly. So when it comes to being in a group, there are not many trios. There aren't many trios that really
we weren't supposed to be. We weren't supposed to be a trio.
Okay.
There was a fourth member who's still my best friend to this day. Hands down, I probably trust him more than anybody on this earth. And it was four of us, but my group members are brothers. So we had a meeting and they quit the group, and then there was no group. So then all of a sudden they go, "I'm about to do a group. You want to be in a group? Oh, you want to be in our group?" So they were trying to X out my guy. And I mean, he told me do it. It wasn't his passion anyway. So it all worked out.
Yo, that's love right there though. A lot of, in this industry, it's rare that you get somebody who supports you to the point where, even if it means they got to support from behind or on the side of the stage, they still go just as hard for you. I feel like we could really use a lot more of that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, listen, you say rare. It's what's less than rare. It's uncooked. Let's do. It's because it doesn't happen. I mean, everybody has an angle, a motive, and that's why I love music, but I hate the music business.
Yeah.
I love these kind of conversations because it's artist to artist is different. And other people that, respect my work and we converse about things, that's beautiful. This is the fun part. The hard part is, as you know, is dealing with the politics and all the other things behind the scenes where people are like, when you drop this other new, or when is this? And you can't tell them, well, really, I got 1 million records. Yeah. But the politics side of it, like, but you just keep working and you just believe. And the good thing is we do something that a lot of times we get paid for that we would be doing for free all the time anyway. So that's the blessing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, in a trio format, is it easier or harder to manage a trio than it would be a quartet, in your opinion?
I think harder, but only for me because I felt lonely and alone. And I love my group members, but it's already three different guys. It's already I'm not related to them. They're real blood brothers. And then
Okay.
you add in I'm the baby. And then lastly, all of a sudden, somehow, and I hate this term because I never say it, some people started saying I'm the lead singer.
Mm.
And everybody leads in their own way. You could just say that I have a unique raspy voice and I sing a lot of leads on the records, but no one knows behind the scenes what goes on. But that adds other dynamics and friction in the situation. And that was hard. And when we're all young and you don't know how to deal with that and you're immature, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And it can really stunt your growth. And then all of a sudden, it's 2 against 1 a lot of times, which doesn't mean it's necessarily them against me, but it's 2 against 1 regardless. At least when there's 4, I think y'all can bounce things off of each other and there can be some type of balance.
Yeah, got you. Interesting perspective, for sure.
That's why,
Oh,
that's why it's hard for me with the 112 situation. And it ain't really my business, but I'm a fan. 112 was my favorite.
dang.
It's 2 and 2, and I felt like they all added something so unique to the situation that, they're dope separate. They're dope as a duo, and they can do whatever. But there's certain ingredients. That's why I even went back to next, even after all of the negative things that were said that were untrue, the unsung, all these different things. I went back because it's bigger than us. Once you become, it's almost like Coca-Cola or something. You become property of the public to a lot of people, and you owe that to them. So when they come to a show, if it's billed as Next or 112 or whoever, I think they deserve the product that they're used to at least the best extent you can give it to them.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's talk about a little industry, but not too much industry. I'm not gonna go there. But
Cam, you go wherever you want. Listen,
hey,
hey, listen,
I already know.
You already know,
bro. Okay, so Butter Love, right? It's in the industry, they always want you to have that up tempo, and usually the up might be the first single. But Butter Love was the first single. Was that intended in order to come back with the uppercut on Too Close, or?
I don't even know. Because I wrote Butter Love when I was like 16 or 17. I was inspired by my mother's hair salon. I didn't want Too Close to be a single.
Okay.
I didn't like up-tempo R&B because back then you had to have it was really about the feature, a rapper, which we didn't have a feature, or it was about the sample. And what people didn't realize is we sampled Christmas rap Curtis Blow. Didn't nobody know that. No offense to Curtis, he got his 40%. I mean, luckily I got my writers, you know what I'm saying? But Curtis was like, like quick, right? I ain't even mad at him, right? So if you really think back, it was always about like the sex tapes. You make the little mids go to the slow. You wanted to have a girl over or whatever. So that's what it was about. So up tempos for me was, I fast forward that unless we out at the club or something. Okay, cool. The beat is rocking. And if you notice, every song that we've done that's up, I'm not talking necessarily about the club. It could be a situation that might have happened in the club, but it ain't talking about, are we drinking and we popping bottling? I did that a little bit for the Ideal record or whatever, but I wanted to find a way, because I'm a rapper first. I wanted to find a way to bring situations and make it up tempo. Like just in case I don't make it. These are up tempo wifey. That's not, you would think that's a mid or a slow, but I said, how can we do it different? We didn't have the advantage, and there's nothing wrong with this advantage. We didn't have Puff and Big and Mace coming out, you know what I mean? And we didn't have Jermaine and the Brat, which we was jealous of. So we were like, we got to come up with some crazy subjects. We got to do something. So it made us work even harder to get a little more creative because we were at a disadvantage.
So with Butter Love then, how, as a new artist in the sense, were you able to get your writing on the first? I mean, like that's every artist writer's dream, like to be able to.
I had done most of the songs. Well, probably half of the records on the first album, and that was the. the dopest thing about KG, like I wasn't gonna do any new Next music, right? But literally, we're doing a new Next and Naughty, Next by Nature project. It's an EP. That's because K called, and there's a certain level of respect I have for him because I hear all these horror stories about publishing and these different things, or artists, aren't living at the level they could be from the work that they've done. I don't have that problem because K was like, "Young Bull, go. Here you go." And I respected that so much. I didn't know any better. I thought that's how it was for everybody. And Clive Davis, the same thing. He was like, we were his pet project because all these other groups, like Bad Boys groups, all that, they were still through Arista, but it was a subsidiary. So he took extra pride in us being Arista, even though it was through Divine Mills. So that was our one advantage. So I never knew why they chose the record. I loved the song. It's hard to sing. It's easier now, but it's hard to sing because when you're running around and you got to sing in the lower register, you're like my home. Man, there's times we danced in the song before and I got to be like, I'm going to sit this routine out real quick because Butter Love's coming up. Yeah. So that used to be probably the hardest song, especially before I got a little bass in my voice to sing. But it was cool. The one thing that another reason I didn't want to do ups is because I didn't want to dance. I seen everybody else dance and I was like, I'm an artist. And that's the thing people didn't know, that I was writing and doing all these things for other people behind the scenes because my focus was, look, I'm 1/3 of this group. But I didn't want to do all them dance steps and all them moves. I used to hate it. Oh, my God. Like, we not the Four Tops, man. What is we doing? But it worked out, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, but I imagine it all the slow, especially the dancing on the slow songs. Like, remember H-Town when they used to do.
Yeah, right. They still, and them is my guys, but we be mad because if they go on before us, the stage be wet from whipped cream. Swear to goodness. I love y'all. Shazam, G.I., you already know, rest in peace, Dino, but I swear they still, and they be killing it. But I'll be like, man, we be on stage trying to do our steps, and boy, we be slipping. It'd be crazy.
Yo. Okay, so once Too Close came out, and that went crazy.
Right.
I mean, it was the most popular song that year, period. And that's rare as well. For those that are watching, I saw a Rolling Stone article about how R&B artists have to go through the R&B trenches first,
right?
And then after it makes it through art,
we didn't. But that's a disadvantage. I'm gonna tell you why. So we have one of the biggest records of all time, number 30 on Billboard. And I'll never talk about this because I hate talking about the past. I don't want to be like, oh God, back in my day. Right. But in the urban community, we're a tier below our peers. Now, people come to the show and I feel like I sing my ass off, excuse my language. I know my daughter's probably watching. Sorry, baby. But me and my brothers, we handle our business. So people are like, oh, I didn't realize. But we're kind of, I don't want to say slept on because we blessed, but out of our peers, they look at us as a level down. But that's because Clyde took us MTV. And then it was that other crowd, that pop crowd. Like, oh my God, I bought a CD for my car, and then I bought one for my boyfriend, and then we actually have one in the house too. And it was like, oh, buy another one. Thank you, God bless you. It just changed. But then for our own people, we're all people, but our own folk, they didn't realize the stratosphere that we had reached with some of those records, like Wifey and Too Close. But then people wanted you to match them, and then what hurt was, as a writer and a producer, people will call you and go, we need that.
Yeah.
Which limits you. So then people are like, man, everything you do sound the same. They want this formula because they feel like your song's going to get played 1,000,000 times and they need something to play right after or right before. So give us something like that, and I know they'll put it in the mix. And I didn't understand it, but it hurt us. So those are things that are blessings and curses at the same time, because all of a sudden you kind of are floating in a different place from your core audience.
Yeah.
And they'll forget about you.
Yeah.
But you got to remind them.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think, because I know that first album went double platinum, which is also not, something that happens often. And the only reason I like to try to go from back and we bring it all the way current. So
come on, let's go.
We're not going to belabor this at any point,
no,
but listen, I do like to give,
let's go.
I like to give respect, you know what I'm saying, where respect is due. People think this music industry thing is just, you know, a bedroom type of situation, but there's real work to be done, and you've done the
I
work. So,
I know where you're gonna go, and when I tell you this, you're gonna be like, wait, what? So I got stories. So go ahead, let's go.
so from album one to album two, was it that type of situation where people were like, we need the same thing that made album one pop, or was it creatively a little bit more of an open landscape for you?
Well, it's what's funny is a lot of that second album I recorded without the guys, and then we would come in with the guys, and they would get on the records because Tilo was he was doing other business, and they were trying to act, and well, not trying, they were acting and doing other things, and they got the LA bug. I
Okay.
didn't. I stayed in Minnesota till I was almost 30. Like, it was like, yo, I ain't never leaving, but then I needed to grow up. So, um, a lot of that album, like, I literally went out with Shannon Sanders. I don't know if you know who he is. He's out in
Yeah.
yeah. See, I worked with him in somebody's crib. We did the strings in somebody's living room on the second album. People don't realize that. I got 50 Cent on the second album. Me and him were in the studio together before people knew 50 Cent. So I
Wow.
was able to do different things. They put me in different rooms where I'm in Battery, I'm in Electric Lady by myself, sitting at the board like, what we doing? I'm going out with Tony Polk and these different. So it was really like college for me because I had no idea what I was doing. And then I
Wow.
would go with Kay. Kay would fly me out, and we would work. But my brothers, which is a credit to them, were like, "Do you? This is your thing." Because they're talented, they write, they do different things as well. But they gave me an opportunity to grow. But what's funny is I had done maybe 11 records on the album. I wrote like 11 records, and excuse me, there was one record they wanted us to do. Clive was like, "I need you to do this record." And I'm like, the record's bomb, but it sounds more neo-soul to me. It doesn't sound like us. But of course, when you have an opinion about a record you didn't do, people think you have motives. So they were like, "Oh, you're saying this because you didn't write it." I was like, "Well, no, but I have this other record that I think is really dope that we should probably put on the album and make it second single." The guys heard it. They said no. The record, we ended up recording the record. Clive calls me personally and goes, "You were right, R. The record isn't for you guys." So I ended up writing the second single for Coffee Brown, which is Weekend Thing. But everybody thinks I wrote the After Party because
Mm.
I'm doing my Puff Daddy. Yeah, because that was our record. But I knew that it was a dope record, but it was more of a neo soul. It had a different feel to me. It was a groove. It wasn't a party. So now that record's gone. But I slang the record I wanted to do in the group to Ideal. Whatever you want to do, love, love. All of a sudden, they go for ads a week before we do. And to be honest, if they were more known, like, because that was their debut per se, they would have had a bigger record than us. But because we had the advantage of Clive Davis and Arista Records at the time, we had an advantage. So we come out with Wifey, and it's like, boom, we right back, right? But then, and this is the crazy part, I rarely talk about this, but there was a departure for Clive where he was kind of ousted out of Arista, so he starts J Records. We were sideways not happy that he was leaving. But Clive, this was before camera phones. I hate I'm aging myself. Listen, I'm 43, whatever. So we would have to fax him pictures of what we had on. RO, you can't wear glasses. We need to see your eyes. Right? So I'm like, I couldn't get fly. We was jealous. We would see 12 and Jagged and the butter leathers. We like, man, we over here in this French Connection bull. We like, man, come on, man. This ain't what we doing, but we had no choice. And we hood cats, but we in the slacks and the tight shirts. Like, okay, looking like Azjet. Shout out to Azjet, but we look like Azjet. So we 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 would have to send pictures. So when he was leaving, and we knew that LA was coming, we were like, yes, a brother, he gonna understand, we gonna be able to do us. So we literally go in a meeting with him. We have the number one record out, Wifey, and he's looking at the CD and he hasn't listened to none of it. So we're looking at each other like, dang, and I love LA, he's a genius, but we're kind of like, dang, does he really even care? We're the only group during that time with the project out. Nobody else had a project out on the labels, as far as from the R&B side.
Yeah.
So Clive flies us out. We go to like Connecticut. We go to his crib. We got like nasty gazpacho, which is like cold soup or something. You know, it's other people's food. I'm like, what? But we there half the staff that groomed us is there saying, look, we starting this new situation. We want you to come with us. And we loyal to a fault. You know what I mean? There's a code. You put us on, what we doing?
Yep.
So we like, cool. They promised us, both situations said whatever we decided, both labels would promote the project.
Okay.
Well, what happened was when we decided to leave, somehow that didn't happen. And that's why you didn't really hear Beauty Queen. We didn't even get to a third single because the label would, somebody from radio in Detroit told me, is the label manager? I'm like, no, what happened? They're calling us and telling us to play Pop Your Collar by Usher instead of Next. And I remember Pop Your Collar was the record they scrapped for Usher.
Wow.
They shot a video and all that, and they found it was like, no, this ain't it. This ain't it. This ain't it. And we were betrayed. We were told one thing, decided to be loyal, and that's why you didn't really hear from us for a minute. And then I'm going back to Clive like, look, you already know once you finish a project, you probably got 5 or 6 songs ready for the next project already. You have an idea, a vision. So I already had records. I fly to New York, and I'm playing the records, and he's like, it's impossible. You'd be fighting yourself. But he says, but what I will do is give you more money than you've ever seen in your life, fly you to LA, let's do your album. Now, I'm like, okay. Now, the way that it was brought out was like I snuck, which is impossible because I did the album in LA because that's where my group members lived, and I felt like I needed to be around them. So I literally, they gave me, I don't like talking numbers, but they gave me $450 signing bonus. That's not the budget, right? So I'm out there working at Track and Place, you know, Kenny, Babyface and Tracy's old studio. And we just working, and I didn't know what I was doing. I ended up hooking up with Walter Millsap. We did most of the album. I was out there with DJ Quick and all these people. It was just beautiful, right? It was school for me. It's like, that was my college. Wow. And people, I made the biggest mistake of my career. And I never tell people this. I, trying to be loyal to my group, said I will try to have a departure from my sound because I don't want people to go, oh, we got R, we don't need that because this is the same thing to an extent. So I literally went in with, you know, Tim and Bob and different people and tried to do something totally different. It was like, you know, you get creative and do something eclectic. And I didn't go to KG. So people were like, oh, you're not loyal to KG. But what nobody knew was KG picks me up and we're going for a ride in LA. I had him an envelope. It's a check for $100,000 to say thank you for nothing, for doing well, I can't say for nothing. He didn't do any records on the album, but that's how I'm built. Like, you're the reason this opportunity came.
Yeah.
This is for you. People didn't understand it. Then when we did the following next album, which they shouldn't have put out, like, I literally was at the record store and I looked and like, there go my CD that wasn't finished is out already. They put, like, for real, they put it out because of the billing cycle. Okay. They did us, they did Tyrese, they did Busta, Jimmy Cole. They put all these albums out on J because there's some type of billing cycle they have with the labels. And the album wasn't even done. The picture they used was the one picture I told them not to use. I got my shirt off. And I'm like, listen, I love the project, but it wasn't even done. It wasn't supposed to come out. And the label didn't even have a staff yet. So all these albums, if you think Eric Sermon, Busta Rhymes, all these people came out and none of them were successful because there wasn't even a staff. So it wasn't that we put out a whack project and we fell off. It was like all these different barriers came about with all this political stuff in the industry. And I don't have any regrets besides the fact that I should have just did me on the project, but it might not have helped because if you don't have a staff, as you know, a lot of people that are watching might not understand that it's a machine. Like, a lot of people talk about independent, which is cool. You get to keep all the money, but how much money is all the money? You know what I'm saying? If you have a machine, sometimes it can get you to other places and in front of other people to get you other kind of money. So it's a trade-off for both. And for us, we suffered from being loyal.
Wow. That's a good point though, because I feel like I've suffered in ways on the management side, you know, being loyal to a fault. You know, every relationship runs its course, you know what I mean? And you got to know when to say when and be able to amicably move in different directions if it comes to that. So that's some great insight. Being a part of that golden era of R&B, both as a member of a group and on your own and writing, you also play a major role in the collaborations that occurred during that time period as well. You know, obviously the best man, you know,
Yes,
joined, you know what I'm saying?
that's
Got,
so much fun.
but I want to tell you, and I said this earlier on my stories, We Can't Be Friends is one of the best duets, R&B
Oh
duets of
wow,
all time, fam.
man, thank you,
Like,
man.
and from the writing, the subject material, I felt like you
Do you know
all,
who did that? Do you know who wrote that?
who wrote that?
That's one of the rare records that I didn't write. Montel Jordan and Shep Crawford. Montel is one of my favorite people in the industry. He's the nicest, one of the nicest men I ever met. I say him for music. I say like Ray Allen for basketball. There's certain cats that are just peaceful, and they can look at you and be talking to you, and you
Yeah,
feel like there's no one, not in the room. There's nobody in the city but you two. And him and his wife Kristen. I'm talking about the. Listen, I meet, you already know, we meet so many fake people in the game, people you taking pictures with it. I love you, family. Come on by. There's cats that I got love for that's been in my house that I've broken bread with, that the furthest I've ever gotten was on their porch. And their back porch, not even the front porch where I could look in the living room. I ain't even been in a house, bro. Like, so you start learning, and it's hard when you're a real one, and you have to learn, not necessarily to be fake, but
yeah,
to alter your realness. And
yes,
and you suffer from that because, you know, in interviews, I used to be scared. Am I going to say the wrong thing? I'm going to be as transparent as possible. What, they going to beat me up? What, they going to say I'm lying? I'm not lying. And I got all these stories. It's just that I used to be super bitter. And you dealt with that. You talk about
I
managing,
have.
like people stealing from. I mean, man, listen, you already know. And the issue is, what always brings you back is the music. I know you be looking at your instruments and stuff, and you be like, man, that's the getaway. I can come down here and I produce now. I've been getting in more into production, and it's my peace.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Like, people ask about the quarantine and, you know, what's going on with this? How are you? Man, I invested in myself, got my studio, full studio. I chill out. I bought a home gym right when the quarantine was hitting on purpose. Got my Peloton bike. Nothing has changed really because it got to a point where I didn't even like going outside like that. I go to the UPS store, gas station, get my little scratch offs. Wingo from Jagger got me addicted to those little stuff like that. But I be at the crib because there's less opportunity to hurt me. It's less opportunity to take advantage of me because I can't change who I am. I'm so blessed probably because of all the people that have taken advantage of me. But it still hurts a little. It still irks. You still be like,
oh yeah,
man. So,
yeah.
man, you already
Music,
know.
music can be, you know, especially when you love it. It's like somebody taking your love and making you hate something you love. It's unimaginable, man. It's I know exactly how you feel. Like sometimes, man, there was a time for me it hurt to sing because I would be like, music used to be the way I felt free until you're in a situation where you're locked into something because of music, and you're like, man, I don't even, you know, I don't even want to do this no
No,
more,
no,
man.
no. The worst part for me is, okay, I feel like in a sense, for a while I was a dinosaur. You know, Rhea and my team, they kind of have brought me to the current because I looked at it as, and I say this a lot, but I was raised where you didn't show people what you got. Your mama said, you act like you ain't used to nothing. They'll see it when they see it. You don't need to wear that yet. You wait till school started. You wait till this. Well, people will literally see me and think, oh my God, you look like you're doing well for yourself. And they're surprised. It's like, wait, you thought I was the crackhead? You thought I was Freemason? Like, they really think because I'm not, look at my drip or look at the crib and social media is the exact opposite of what I was raised to do. So I have to rethink it. So I used to go to concerts and people are holding their phones up, taping, and older cats use iPads. In a minute, they're going to be using laptops, but they using that, right? And I'm thinking to myself, you're not holding your old lady's hand or your man's hand. Y'all not in the moment. You're so busy taping me so that people that didn't spend their hard-earned money can watch it. When you pay, like, I understand taking some pictures and, you know, but I'm talking about whole show, arm tired, like, and it's all love. It's just something that it took getting used to because everything's documented now. And that's why I feel bad for the kids today and well, young men, because if there were camera phones and social media out when I was out in the beginning, I wouldn't be here right now, bro. I'd be in jail or dead. because we were living. And I honestly feel like a lot of people are missing the moments now. And now
Yeah.
with my audience, luckily the quarantine, I can't lie, in a sense, you know, I feel bad for the families and a lot of things that have happened. But for artists like myself, we've been able to take advantage of a platform in the sense of, because most people my age got kids, they coming in from work, they might, you know, look at some hair, some tummy tea, or whatever they doing, or the shade room, and they're not coming to look at what new music I got and all that. So when people will say stuff like, you know, you need to post some new records, and you know, your followers, no, they're not following for that. So my audience was originally used to go into the record store on Tuesdays, not even Fridays. Tuesdays get music, and now we have to find a new way. That's why all my counterparts have all this great music that has come out, but no one's heard it, and I feel bad. So I kind of wait, like, you know, I don't just want to be wasting music. I go sing the, and I hate the word old school, but I go sing the classic jams
Yeah.
and get the bag, come home to my family, and continue to try to create new things and wait for the opportunity, you know, for God to bless me. But it's hard with the new, with everything that's new out, and honestly, my core audience having to get acclimated with it, because you think that they are, but truthfully, a lot of them are on Facebook, chilling, going to look at their old friends from high school and college,
Yeah.
and if it ain't tummy tea or hair or, you know, an online boutique, which is cool. Sure, if I could have an online boutique, hey, let's go. I'm selling something, joggers, what we doing? But truthfully, it's learning to, or relearning or recreating myself. And I know as an artist, you can totally understand that, because you want to be about the music.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not. It's so much more. I go into meetings and I'm thinking, okay, let me hear a hit. What's your following like? How many hits you got? What's your social media presence? What about what's my stage presence? What are you talking? Like, it's these questions that it was foreign to me. I'm like, yo, am I in the right meeting? Because I'm used to being in a meeting with Lionel Ridenour or Clive Davis and people like that. And they're saying, okay, let me hit a record. You know, we could do this with this. This can go here. A game plan, strategy. Now it's, what's your following like? You know, what's your presence like in your city? And it's like, huh? I wasn't online. I was too busy creating this.
I tell people all the time, say, if Stevie Wonder or Michael Jackson, if they had to worry about social media, we would never have heard from them. They wouldn't, because you got to take time to hone your craft. If I'm honing my craft, trying to become a master at my craft, do I have time to post at 3, 6, 9, and 12? And do I really?
If
Nah.
you really grinding and you in the moment, and I've learned from my production partner, B Flat, he'll go, okay, let me take a minute and do this and take something real quick and be done. I've had to learn that, or I'll go, send me that. You know, or my wife, she'll be like, and we're 6, almost 7 years apart. So she's from the not even MySpace, Facebook generation. So it's even a divide there. It's always a camera. They've always had camera phones. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and it used to bother me, but truthfully, she'd be getting the best footage. It'd be like, I'd be mad, but then I'd be like, you know, airdrop me that picture so I could post it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let's talk about family for a second.
Sure.
Happy belated Father's Day.
Appreciate it, man. You got kids?
I don't have any kids yet, man.
Yeah,
I'm saying yet.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what
There
I'm
you
saying?
go. There you go.
But I did want to talk to you about that, because I think it's interesting, you know, having a son that's in the earlier stages of adulthood, and then having a daughter in the toddler development stages as well. What has changed for you in terms of approach to fatherhood, if anything?
Well, it's funny because he's a young man, but you know, boys are more sensitive talking to daddy, so I'm probably harder on Rory than I am on Charles in a sense of how I speak to them. I can't talk to him sternly. Number one, because he's grown, he can just get on the phone. He lived in his own house. I remember one time he even tried to act like he would buck, like it was on the phone, but it was like, come on, bro, I got old man strength. What are you doing? But I'm more mature. I'm more patient. I will say that. I was on the road more. I always say that he's the reason I made it. She's the reason I keep going. Because I was in high school, so it was fear. And it was like, okay, go to college, give myself a year to do this, because that scholarship office is like, so which one I want to do? I worked as hard as I did because I had a big responsibility. You know, it wasn't, oh, you know, I'm just chilling. I go back to my parents' house now, but I'm not bringing my son. I got to roof over head, you know, child support, all those responsibilities. So he's the reason, and it's hard because people will say stuff like, "Are you going to give Rory a sibling?" And people are like, "Why does that bother you?" Well, you going to pay some of these bills? You know how much daycare is, but that ain't even why. I almost feel like it's disrespecting my son. If they would say, you know, y'all got two, you know, that's different. But when you basically say, okay, you'll give Rory has a sibling. Like, he's old enough to be, well, he's old enough to be your dad because, you know, I was that age, you know what I'm saying? But I just want to put some respect on his name because I don't post him a lot because he don't want to be posted a lot. You know, he living his life. And Rory's here every day. It's different. These little moments that I know I missed with my son being on the road and things. I'm able to capture those and see those, especially with camera phones now and different things. But that doesn't lessen my love or the impact or the level of respect I have for my son. It's just that she right here. This is how we can do it. She gets away with more. My dad would say stuff like, because I'm a middle child, and my dad would say, "You'll realize when you got a girl because my sister get everything." But I realize, but not the way he thinks. He thinks that, see, it's a different love, and it is, but not the way he thinks. I want to protect my daughter in a different way. I have to worry about things like them shorts is too small, or, you know, hey, you can't come to the door in your diaper no more. You can't just ain't, you know what I mean? With him, it was like, if he was walking around with a little thing out of it too, it was like, that's my son. It was a little different feel, you know what I'm saying? So I'm probably more protective in a different way with her. Because I literally was looking at her, watching her today, and she'll ruin my day or make my day. She'll be mean to me. Now she makes faces like, but then I had to shave earlier. She's like, "I want to come in there with you, Daddy." And I was like, "Okay." And then when she says Daddy, it's like, she'll know. Can I have a snack, Daddy? Of course. So then Lena's looking at me like, but it's different.
Yeah, that's what's up, yo. Um, I know. First of all, I want to say that for the people that are watching, we were supposed to do this interview a couple weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
It got rescheduled, and I wanted to tell you that I appreciate you
Oh man,
for
we family. You already
for
know. Come on.
for I appreciate you for rescheduling with me, but I appreciate you more for saying, "Hey, I gotta go do what I gotta do." You know what I mean? In terms of representing and going back to your city in order to be there for your city, man. I don't know. Listen, I'm gonna tell you straight up. I have an interview that's scheduled, and he said, "Hey, man, I don't want to talk about this or this or this or this." And some of it is like, how do you want to avoid this or that? And it made me think about our rescheduling and have even more appreciation for you deciding to go to Minneapolis and support your city. So, you know,
I almost didn't go. I almost didn't go because it's funny because some young girl, and I appreciate you. Thank you for rescheduling with me, but I have a crazy relationship with home because I'll go back home and, you know, I didn't have, I'm not saying any, but I didn't have a lot of support. Number one, at home, but in the community, like as far as a singer, like, and I understand why people don't believe, because they look at around the surroundings, they go, well, you know, he's not Prince, he's not this, but God told me somehow that I would be here, you know what I'm saying, and further. So going home is hurtful somewhat, but I waited for everything to play out, and I'm always about solutions. I'm not gonna come help tear down, but I'll come back and try to help build up. And I believe there are good police. I believe there's some foul police too, though. You know what I'm saying? And I think that they victimized us for a long time, and something has to be done. I'm not mad that my city ignited, literally, the flame that started this, and I don't want to say revolution. I'm going to say evolution, because revolution is revolving. It comes back. This evolution is something different. This is a whole different thing we're on right now. But I finally posted a picture of Mr. Floyd, and I put something under the comments because somebody had said something about, you need to say something. This is your city. And I felt like it is not my place to speak first before this man's family, before, you know, people that are really in a position of power to really say something. So finally I posted something. Some young lady, younger, probably about 26, from my city found out. She lives in Atlanta, I guess. Said, "This ain't it, Chief." So I responded, like, okay, well, tell me what I'm supposed to do. She responded, "You're supposed to do more. Matter of fact, I know some places you can donate. I'll send you my cat." It was like a whole different. I'm like, wait,
Wow.
what? So when nobody knew, and I hadn't said anything until I waited to post the picture because somebody else had posted it. I went and met with the police chief, who was a black man, and what I found out, well, I'm gonna just keep it 100. I'm talking to family. What I found out is basically there are unions. So there's times that he's probably tried to fire police officers for things, but then there's a racist guy back home named Bob Kroll, who's the head of the policemen's union. He will fight for you, and then you get to keep your job. So this protocol is almost like when I hear people talking about Obama not realizing the House and Senate is really where the fight is. Before it even, if it ain't on his desk to sign, he couldn't turn water to wine. He ain't Jesus. But people will be like, Obama didn't do enough, not understanding that it wasn't him. It's these other people that you vote for every 2 years that you didn't vote for because you just worried about the figurehead, not understanding. It's the same thing with the police chief. So they're thinking he can't do anything, but your arms or your hands are tied when there's only so much you can do. So I actually talked to them today, and I told them, you have all these cops that are from your community, policing your community. They really look at it like we're animals. They're at a place they don't want to be, around people they don't know, that they don't identify with. So what do? So I said, what you should do is, especially for new officers in the community, for 6 months, twice a month, they can be paid, but send them to a community center. Let them be around kids and learn their stories, because then they'll have empathy and sympathy for the communities they're in. So when they stop the little kid wilding out, they can go, oh, that's just Troy. He barks, but he doesn't bite. I'm gonna call your mom. And they put him in the police car in the front, even in the back seat, take him home. Police used to be it used to be a position of pride. You can't tell me an inner city kid right now that says, I want to grow up and be a police officer, unless he's from a law enforcement home.
Yeah.
And we spoke on that. You have to find new ways to get recruits from the community to show them this is an honorable, amazing job to be in the community. And it's good you don't got to be a hustler. You ain't got to be a rapper or singer or rock star. You ain't got to do none of that. You can be something and still make a difference. So there's these programs that we're going to implement. I'm going to get back on the phone. It's funny, I got the call today. My cousin is a Senator Bobby Joe Champion in Minneapolis. So I want to implement change, because I don't know if I agree with abolishing, police. I understand what defunding means. That means taking some of that money that they really don't need away, which I agree with. But there has to be programs and ways to have people that are policing their own community and having love and respect for the people that they police. I think that's a solution, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm with you 1,000%. I wanted to talk about. I know we're coming closer to the end, so I wanted to ask you about now and the future. What musical or non-musical are you working on? What can the people out there be looking forward to from you?
Well, I got the single "You Are." We did the video. I got my daughter, my wife in it. I'm really happy about it. We released it before, and it really wasn't doing anything because the publicist I had hired, I made a mistake. Sorry, Rhea. I hired somebody else. Rhea was in LA and traveling the world, in Charlotte, wherever she be, doing her thing. And lady took my paper. Video was supposed to come out a certain day. I got it like 3 months later, something crazy. Excuse me. So I was kind of detoured. I was like, as an artist, okay, I'll just do something else. My daughter kept singing the record. Even now, she's like, can you play this record? Can you? And I was like, dang. And she sings it with her eyes closed and she's feeling it. And I'm like, kids are smarter than us in a lot of ways. They can pick up on feelings. So it made me revisit it. And all of a sudden I revisited it, and the videos on BET, MTV. It's like, wow. And I'm working on a project. We got the Naughty, the Next by Nature project. I'm working on Tylen, who's like my nephew. He has a project coming. My partner, Brian B. Flat Cook, his EP's dropping Friday. I'm super excited about that. I got an Afrobeats project I'm putting on in Africa. I love Afrobeats. And then my project is called The Procession, which is, procession is when you're on your way to the funeral. Everybody think I'm dead. Everybody think it's over. I'm about to pop my head out the casket like, y'all look nice.
Yo, one thing I do want to say, man, I remember coming over to your spot and going into, your workspace, and you're one of the first artists that I saw who was really, really recording themselves, like, and knew how to record themselves, and it
Oh
really
wow.
inspired me. Yeah, man. I remember Pierre brought me over there, and I was like, man, you know, you were talking about different plugins you had and
Man.
mics and gear, and I was like, yo, I need to get on my junk. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of artists wait, you know, to get a call, or they wait for somebody to call them back or something like that. But I can say that there are a few people that I've been around that I know are dope at all these other things.
Oh man.
But when you get
Appreciate
down
it.
to it, when you can sit in front of that computer and sit there for 4 hours or 2 hours or
Yeah,
6
right.
hours,
Yeah, right.
doing as many takes as you need to, and you panning left and right, it changes your appreciation for what the people really do behind the scenes. And I know you have, you know, the songwriting equity that has helped you along the way. But I do want to say that even as an artist, as RL that we know, I've seen you, you know, be, hey, I'm on the sticks right here, you know. So I do want to
Well,
appreciate
let
you
me
for
do
it,
this.
brother.
Let me do this, Cam. I want to say this. I'm a fan. I've watched you for a long time. You know, we got mutual, you know what I'm saying? You know, Pierre's daughter is my goddaughter. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
Kennedy. Pierre, shout out to him. I know he lost his father. It's his first Father's Day without his dad. Praying for him. I shot him a text. But I know how hard you work. And I know who you are as a person, as an artist, and it's still gonna come. This is just another outlet, another, you know, platform for you. I know how dope you are. And I don't know if these people that are watching realize. I know. And what's dope is you're different. And I mean it's pure. It's and I'm from Minnesota, so I know you should be the one from Minnesota. I can see for real, like real talk. Like I'm keeping it 100. Like I should be. When you say you from Cincinnati,
Yeah.
so I should be from Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? You should be like literally. You're the quintessential artist. You're a rarity now. You know what I mean? So you talk about, you know, these Maxwells and all these different artists. You're gonna have your suite. You know what I'm saying? That's, you know what I'm saying. It's, and I mean that. Like I know that, and that's why I was so happy that we were able to reschedule this, because being able to sit and have a convo. You know, next time we'll do it in person when all this is
Yes.
over, and we'll be laughing. Heck, we might be in the studio, and you'll be recording us. So let's get it, man. I appreciate you. I'm so proud of you, bro. You have no idea, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. I the other day I was just like, when you posted the flyer on your joint, you'll be surprised how many people won't do that. I'm like, it doesn't hurt you to support somebody else. You know, it only helps you. It only brings positivity back to you when you support
Other,
somebody.
you know, listen, other artists have sent me flyers promoting their music, and I posted it, like, because there's no hate in my blood. Like I have a saying that I stole from Pierre, who stole from somebody else, and he says, "I wish you well. I just wish me better." Now I wish everybody well. I want to see everybody win. Now, do I want to win a little more? Of course, but that's human. But I want to see. I want us all at the table. There's nothing wrong with that. We can all be. You can have a 2020 Bentley. Just give me the 2022. I want something that's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, just keep it one. Let's keep it
Yeah.
a buck. That's just what it is. But there's so many people that would rather see you fail, so their failure doesn't look as big. It takes attention from their failure. That's really what it is. When if we all were looking at each other to win and pushing each other to win, listen, bro, we'd be goody.
It's already gonna happen. We're gonna keep this going offline. I appreciate, shout out to Rhea and Madeline for hooking this up. I appreciate the connection. And to everybody that's out there, make sure you go check out UR. I saw the video yesterday. I saw some familiar faces. It was
Yeah,
dope.
appreciate it, man.
And we're all looking forward to everything you have going on. You're a good brother, and we need to support good brothers, man.
Man, I appreciate you. We'll do this again, man. But I'll probably be interviewing you because your new project will be platinum, and you already know. So I'll be up here, you'll be down here, but just be ready
All
and
right.
post the flyer, Cam.
I got you. I got you. My brother, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, peace.
All right, bro.